get together with some folks, put your money together, go in on a commercial property, and that can be great mailbox money, as we call it.
Mailbucks.
Mailbucks. Well, that's a good mailbucks,
Mailbucks.
right? Get your mailbucks, the bucks in the mail.
Nope.
Yeah, you can get thousands of dollars in every single month for doing absolutely nothing.
Yep.
That's what I love about real estate is it's all upfront work, right? You're doing a lot of the grunt work up front in terms of finding the property, fixing it up if it needs it, renovating, refinancing. But after that, I mean, aside from, especially because if you get a property manager,
There you go.
you're hands off. You just get money every single month.
All right, we're out. Look, this week we got to get that intro done.
We will.
This
We will.
week. Oh, Jair, let's get it. I got the scripts written and everything. We just got to record it. All right. But 4 pathways of wealth, and when we're talking about wealth in this sense, Sinclair, we're talking about monetary wealth.
Yes.
Okay, we understand that holistic wealth, right? Your relationships, your spirit, how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, all that beautiful.
Mhm.
We'll have other episodes to talk about that. But today we talking about the bag. Okay.
Dollar
Today we
bills,
talking about the
y'all.
bag. Throw it in the air and then I pick it up.
Hey,
Throw it in the air
hey,
and then I
hey,
pick it up.
hey.
Okay.
Break it up.
Hey, wake
Break it
it up.
up.
Hey. Oh, this is us. Literally, she made up a song about Target earlier today.
Okay, y'all want to hear it? Okay, here we go.
I'm so sorry.
Tarjay, 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 Tarjay.
Uh,
Oh, I forgot it.
we got clothes small and large A. Something like large A was how you
It
brought it
was
in. That's all I
Tarjay,
remember.
Tarjay, 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 Tarjay. Everything you need, all sizes, small and large.
Ah,
Y'all, come on, come on.
rock with me. Oh my goodness. All right. So, but get back to it. Today we're talking about securing the bag, wealth in 4 areas. My favorite area is entrepreneurship, right? And I did a little bit of a workshop on this with some scholars earlier. And according to Fidelity, which is a financial advisory or financial institution, they said that 88%, Sinclair, 88% of
I was gonna
self-made
say I know this stat.
millionaires. I mean, you want to finish it? I said most of it.
Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. 88% of self-made millionaires are entrepreneurs in America, right? So if you're thinking about what are you laughing at? Go ahead.
I was just thinking about like before you kept going with it. When you said like 80, I was like, I could have finished the fact,
Mhm.
but you were already too far into it. So
Okay.
it wouldn't have been very fruitful for me to just be like, our entrepreneurs.
Hey, get your shots up. Get your shots up. But 88% of self-made millionaires are entrepreneurs. So if you are trying to build wealth within your family, having that side hustle, having
Mhm.
that business should be in your repertoire, right? And if you're just like, you know what, business is not for me, like I just don't like running my own business, that's fine. We got 3 other
Right.
pathways for you. It's not for everybody,
Right.
but it is for 88% of self-made millionaires. All I'm gonna say.
But you could be part of the 12%. You can.
Right. So Queen, any follow-up questions or comments on just entrepreneurship as a pathway to wealth for your family?
What do you consider entrepreneurship? Like
Mm,
if you had to come up with a definition, what does entrepreneurship look like? Like if I do bake sales once a month,
mm,
am I an entrepreneur? Like what degree do you become an entrepreneur, or is it like is it just a hobby? You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I feel like entrepreneurs are folks that solve problems and create their own opportunities.
Mm,
Because I think you can own a franchise like a McDonald's. I don't know if I would call that an entrepreneur. I feel like I would call that a small business
you're a
owner.
business owner,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you're a business owner for
That is
sure.
a good question. Like,
Um,
wow, what's the difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur?
right, like you can own a UPS store, a Best Buy, or all that stuff. I don't know if I would consider that an entrepreneur because you didn't create that own opportunity from scratch.
Mm,
Not to say that anyone is better than the other, right? But even within McDonald's, within Best Buy, you don't control, and I don't even know Best Buy is franchisable. Don't quote me on that.
Mhm.
But you don't own the complete supply chain, and technically there's limits because you're selling other people's stuff, other people's opportunities,
Mm.
right? With that bake sale, you're limited to your own resources, but you own that brand, that intellectual property,
Mhm.
though the ovens that you're cooking it with, and it's like the sky's the limit,
So
right?
basically, almost starting your own business
Yeah,
is, I'm trying to like put it as simply as possible. Would that be kind of a general way to describe it? It's starting your own business that is solving a particular problem.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want Devon Truvel's, description.
received. Right. So if you're a family out there, go ahead and solve your own problems. Start from scratch. Whether it's a family brand, there's tons of families out there. What's your dude's name?
Belief.
Yes.
Well,
Talk
his
talk.
name's Glenn, but belief in
Let's go
fatherhood.
with belief.
Yes, belief in fatherhood. So, I think if you think about the problem he was trying to solve, it's like the representation of fathers, in particular black fathers, excuse
Mhm.
me. So even he talks about a lot as in his YouTube. Wow, I cannot speak today.
The mimosas be hitting y'all.
His YouTube channel talks about like his relationship with his father and how he wanted to kind of improve that, but also improve that for himself, but also his kids, and for them to be able to see a very positive black father figure.
Mm.
So he started a YouTube channel called Belief in Fatherhood. I absolutely adore their whole family. Y- yeah, I just Uzi's my favorite. He's the youngest. He's just so cute and adorable. But anyways, he literally from the first child has been YouTubing and vlogging their entire parenting experience, and it solves the problem. Like people like me, people like us who are preparing to have kids, especially black kids, right?
Mm.
They have 4 kids, we want to have 5. So it's very nice to be able to get into the inner workings and see the inner workings. Is very transparent about all of the issues that they go through
Mm.
and talks through like, this is how I handled it. I'm not saying this is the right way. This is how I did it. This is my reasoning behind it. And so it's very interesting, and you get to see how it plays out. So you can see like, okay, I like how they did that, or I would have did that a little bit differently. But
Right.
it's just very interesting to see how he had a problem himself, and he created his channel and started in his garage, and now he, as of this last month, they have their first office that they're able to rent. It's a full floor. It's amazing.
Congrats.
And he's working
Yeah.
full time to support the family. So it's
Yeah.
amazing to see how like literally anything that you're passionate about, any problem that you have, can become the way that you build wealth for your family.
Right. And two quick things on that. One, it's literally a family business. Like
Yes.
Glenn does a lot of the editing and kind of like the
Music.
narration side and the music. His wife is in those videos, and they have a couples podcast
Mm-hmm.
for married couples. All the kids are in a lot of the videos, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll do like product reviews and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it's literally a family owned business and brand that they were able to build. And there's tons of other YouTube and Instagram families out there that are doing it like that as well. So that's just one particular pathway. Again, we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship and building businesses out throughout this entire podcast or next 100 episodes. So if starting a business is something you want to learn more about for your family, keep tapping in with us, right? Second quick thing that I want to talk about real quick
Mm-hmm.
is the queen said we want 5 kids. So that's the first time she
Oh.
said the we in the 5 kids. It's usually been like he wants 5 kids. I don't know. I'm gonna go. But I just want to that this was on air,
On the
on the
record.
podcast, on the record. Jair heard it. Everyone else heard it.
Literally the other
We
day I was
want
talking
5 children. Thank you very much.
talking to one of my
Thank you for tuning in to the M Ford
wow.
podcast.
Don't do me like that. Anyways, one before we move on to number 2, I wanted a question that I'll ask for each one of them. But what do you think is like the biggest obstacle or the biggest pitfall that folks can fall into for entrepreneurship?
Great question. Um, hmm, biggest obstacle and I think biggest pitfall is not getting started.
Mm,
I think there's tons of people who have brilliant ideas, right? And it doesn't even have to be a brilliant idea. Some people have like a very simple idea
mm-hmm.
and they never
Never
do
do
it.
it. Yeah.
They never execute on that idea. And then, 10 years go by, 20 years go by, you'll start seeing infomercials for that idea. And you'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh,
Oh.
I had that idea back in 1987. And then it's like, oh, hey, you should have executed it on it, right?
Right.
That was a great idea. So, number one pitfall I say is people not actually following through on that idea. Now, once you get started, you get rolling. I think the number two barrier for families, and I think it was a barrier for us as well, is not knowing how to use your resources as efficiently as possible, right? You have limited money.
Mhm.
If you're a parent, you're a family, you have limited time,
Mhm.
limited space, and it can feel like you need the world in order to get started, in order to grow. But I really feel like just like we've slowly grown the podcast, slowly grown the board game, everything has been a nice slow process because of the limited resources we've had. And I think sometimes we know we have limited resources, but
Mhm.
we want quick results as
Yeah.
if we have infinite resources. So I would say it's a two-edged sword. One is the limited resources, and also the limited patience
Mm.
in the results.
Yeah.
So yeah, take your time with
Yeah. And I think it's also interesting because I feel like when you come up with your head of how long you think something is going to take, in reality, double that.
it.
Like I just feel like, and I
That's
feel
a
like
fact.
that's part of the struggle is like you start and you're like, okay, in 3 months, I mean, like me, right, as a health coach, in 3 months, I'm about to have 5 clients.
Mm,
And it just doesn't happen like that. And it actually takes way longer. And then you get discouraged. And then you're
yeah,
like, all right, I guess I'm not supposed to do this. And it's like, that's not it at all. It's just that it's going to take longer. The timeline in your head is arbitrary, right? You don't have anything. If this is your first time doing it, you don't really have anything to base it off of. You're
yeah,
just thinking, okay, I think I can do this, but it's arbitrary, right? When you actually put it into practice, you see how much work it actually takes to acquire a client or to
yeah,
get somebody to buy a board game or, to get a contract. And then I think you have a little bit of a better idea of how long it's going to take moving forward. But yeah, I think patience is that has been probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from the entrepreneurship journey.
yeah. Gotta be patient.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's why we came up with that phrase, see us in 10 years.
Yeah. 10
To
years.
remind us, okay, at least 10 years. And when you look at a Eric Thomas, even when you look at a Glenn, when you look at
Yeah.
a Beyonce, like when you look at all these people who are great and they have achieved great things, they've been rocking for a while.
Yeah.
Right? Like even like the belief, like when you go back in the timeline, that man's been doing this for like 10, 12,
Wild.
15
And
years
just got his first
and
office.
just started popping.
Right.
Right. He started off with music. He didn't even start off with the whole vlogging stuff because he didn't have a family yet. Right.
Right.
So yeah, stick with it, y'all.
Yep.
Right. So number one, entrepreneurship. Go ahead, start solving problems. How can you and your family create something as a beautiful family or as an individual if you're not in that family yet? Okay. Number two, do you have one you want to go next? Any particular order?
I can jump into real estate. That's when I feel confident to talk about stocks and investing. That's not my
Mm,
bag. But real estate, I've always been an advocate for real estate. I think even before like we got married and we were a unit and we were going into real estate, I know when um I was kind of getting into my first full-time job and gonna make my first move to my own apartment, I was like, I want to buy.
mm,
Like, why would I not buy? And I did start I didn't go too far with it, but I was like, I did get pre-qualified to see how much I could get qualified for because yeah, real estate has always made sense to me as an investment strategy
mm,
because it's always going to be around. It has always been around and it is always going to be around. It is something that I think is like, yes, there are ups and downs, but there's always a market for real estate. And I think I don't know where I heard this first. I feel like everybody says it nowadays, but you're in the real estate market one way or another. If
mhm,
you are a living human being on earth, you are in the real estate market. So whether you are buying or renting, you are in the market. You just have to decide what side of the investment you want to be on. Are you the one providing the investment to whoever owns the property, or are you the one who's going to be able to pocket that investment? So yes, real estate investment I think is a fantastic real estate or a fantastic wealth building strategy because it is probably one of the easiest that can be passed on to future generations
do it correctly, yes.
if you do it correctly, can be passed on to future generations. And without a doubt, now, if you're looking at short term, you can't guarantee anything, any type of increase in value. But long term, it's going to increase in value. You just have to be patient with it. So I think the best strategy with real estate is to buy and hold for, as long as possible so that you can, again, pass it on to future generations. Unfortunately, I think that where some folks go wrong, and unfortunately, especially in our communities,
Mm,
is they see when the market's going well, they see the potential,
yeah,
right? They
let me
see those
cash
dollar
out.
dollar bills
You know,
and they cash out and they get that money. And a lot of times it does not make it very far. It may not even take it to the next generation, right?
yeah,
A lot of times it gets spent up and the next generations has to start back from zero. I think that that's something that, a mindset I think that is starting to change. I know we're starting to change for our families.
Yep.
Is like we want to hold on to it, so that we can make sure that our kids, our grandkids, our great grandkids can benefit from
Yeah.
these real estate, investments that we're making today.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.